Hour has revealed. He's told the Daily Mirror, I've got a lot new ready and the whole world wants new insights. It's an amazing story.
Meghan is at the bottom of the barrel.
In fact, I've seen the tapes. I've got them somewhere. God knows where now.
Meghan too.
I've seen more than one.
The reason why they're problematic for Meghan is these places.
But I have to just say, anyone who has doubted me over the past decade about this evil woman now needs to eat some pie.
Something about this whole situation feels off, and once you catch it, you can't unsee it. For years, the noise around Harry and Meghan hasn't just background chatter, been loud, non-possible to ignore. Big names like Piers Morgan, Markle, Valentine Lowe, and Thomas Markle Sr. have all stepped up, throwing out bold claims and serious accusations. But every single time, the reaction is exactly the same. Nothing. No direct clapback. Public correction, just straight silence like it never even happened. Then things got even more intense in 2022 when Tom Bauer took revenge.
They try to hide the files and they fail.
And Meghan and he has done to, pull other people down and come in their behavior. Well, let's continue to talk about you, Miss Meghan Markle, and what you have done.
That book didn't hold back. It called out social manipulation and a carefully controlled image that felt way too polished to be real, and still no response. Same playbook, same move, ignore it and pushing. Even when Endgame stirred up major drama by naming senior royals tied to racism claims, the reactions stayed tight, controlled, almost too calm.
The yacht girl, oh my God, spoke. That's so Virginia Roberts. They both about Meghan Markle was to ignore it. Even now, with these pictures out in the public domain, the press refuses to expose.
But then something changed and people started for attention. Just 12 days betrayal was about to drop. A statement came out completely different from anything seen before. This time, the tone came in strong, calling the claims deranged, conspiracy, and melodramatic kind of one hit hard, especially when compared to the usual silence been used to. At first, it seemed easy to explain. Figured it had to be about familiar issues.
The key line there, and the line that really interests, is not a question about whether she was a yacht girl, but just simply stating as a fact, and was it double figures or triple in terms of how many yachts she was a guest on before she met?
Influence, money pressure, or certain clips that had already been making rounds online. On the surface, those reasons sounded believable, like it was just the same drama playing out again. But when you really look at it, that explanation doesn't fully land. Not with enough intensity. Then per dive. When you actually go through the serialized the Times, reading it carefully from
yacht claims simply will not go away. And I've spoken about this before, but until now, no one in the mainstream media has been brave enough to go there. Well, that has just
a different picture starts forming. The usual attention-grabbing topics are all there. Harry's isolation, warnings linked to Camilla, internal tension surrounding charity work. But the one topic that could seriously shake on a wider mainstream level was tall. Missing stands out more than anything that actually published. And once you notice it, hard to ignore. Then, just 4 days after those eps dropped, things turn into territory that had been avoided for years. Column suddenly put us in way further than usual.
All over the world, cast members didn't understand where she got the money to fly business class. All over the world.
Julie, known for her controversial and past professional fallout, came through with Meghan's planned luxury retreat in Sydney, where tickets were sit nearly 3,000 Australian. The tone, sharp, personal, and exactly what people expect from her style. But right in the middle of it, one line grabbed serious attention. She wrote, "No one will get to ask anything interesting, like how many yachts was a guest on before Prince. Was it figures?" That question wasn't, but the setting made it different.
This gentleman right here, that's Nick Jones, the original founder of Soho. Guess what's going there? He's arriving at Meghan Markle and Harry's wedding as guest of honor. Oh yeah, Soho was present.
This wasn't some random post online or a loose comment in a thread. This was Print The Spectator, a publication with nearly 200 years of history, full control and legal review behind. That difference matters more than people think. For years, Conversations like that stayed locked in spaces without real institutional backing.
You have to question that, and it has to be something that we continue to talk about. There is something there that we need to find the missing pieces to, because I believe a lot of it was scrubbed of before we even knew who Meghan Markle was.
But now, into mainstream territory in a very visible way. British media stayed far away from this topic, acting like it didn't belong in serious reporting didn't anything about Meghan's past. No fresh evidence, no claims, nothing solid like that. It did show was a clear shift in what established outline to put out there. We're no longer. That shift is where things really get interesting. Before going any further, something's to be made clear right now.
And we also have this girlfriend.
And the only times she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And on the other end, with her Panama hat.
This topic been twisted in all kinds of ways. False claims, wrong and wild speculation have spread fast, even leading to a platform getting shut down. Some of what's on comes from named sources, some has full documentation, and some of it is completely made up. Breakdown sticks only to what can actually be tracked back to credible reporting sources that we checked might interpret differently.
I want to ask Meghan Markle about her yacht girl. To me, it was like quite a significant moment because, of course, there is so much about Meghan Markle's time on those yachts that we do not know.
But the facts being mentioned here are already part of the public record, just random talk. So what is actually confirmed? These didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They worked through real people moving in very real social circles. One key name that's coming up is Marcus Anderson, the global membership director at Soho House.
And I know what you're going to say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No, there's actually quite a lot of pictures about them. There are 2 pictures that leaked.
Originally from Canada, and someone right at the center of these networks. And the company is no secret. It's been talked about for years. He starts as a waiter, his way up step by step, until Soho House founder Nick Jones. That kind of climb doesn't happen by accident. It put him right in the middle of some very influential circles. He met during her Suits Toronto, and from that point on, he stayed firmly in her orbit.
And I wonder if Prince Andrew's going and say, hey, Harry, I did your wife a few times on yachts before you.
He even showed up at major moments, like her royal wedding in 2018 and her New York shower in 2019. Clear signs. He wasn't just a casual connection. Royal correspondent Katie Nicholl reported on Channel 4 that Prince Harry asked Anne to set up not a typical date, but something more inside Soho House. Detail alone shows how those early interactions were planned.
She was coming to New York all the time. She was in New York when Andrew was in New York for an entire month in September 2013.
At the same time, Anderson, the original link. In his own memoir, Harry confirmed that Violet and Holtz first in them through Instagram back in July 2016. Anderson's role came after, handling logistics, setting up meetings and making sure everything ran smoothly behind the scenes. He wasn't the starting point, but he definitely played a key part in how things unfolded. Tom Bower also wrote in Revenge, too, that Meghan attended Brett Ratner's Hollywood parties frequently during that same period.
This is Rachel Meghan Markle in 2006 at a Hamptons party where Weinstein was there. But of course, nobody was mentioning Meghan Markle because she was a nobody.
Layer social circles she was moving in. That claim has floated around for a while as part of the bigger conversation about her social circle at the time. It didn't of nowhere. There's also one statement that brought up again and again. Meghan's childhood friend, Priddy, reportedly told Tom Bower that a conniving social climber who had her sights on snagging up ever since she was in high school. So direct tied to someone who knew her low spotlight. This where the wider network into focus.
The publication of Jessica Krause's House in Habit investigation into Meghan Markle, which she has promised and has 6 years working on, and I am licking my lips to patient for when she...
Back then, Soho House had a major financial Ron, billionaire with ownerships in the... His name has come up in connection with Jeffrey Epstein's address, and it also appeared in flight logs to Epstein's private jet, later released through US legal documents. Then in January 2024, Burkle's name showed up in newly released records. Not accused of any crime, but still present in documentation that drew media attention. That alone was only people talking and speculating. There is no credible evidence in any direct relationship in Markle, and that claim isn't backed by reporting. And it's important it confirmed assumptions that go beyond what proven.
The proof is strong here, and that's what she used as a weapon. So there were quite a few things about her personal life. I'll work with them.
What keeps this story alive is the names. It's the structure behind it all. The net connect Meghan into Harry's world overlaps distance with individuals who show up in documented and related records. That indirect link is what some commentators have started pointing at more openly, and it's getting harder to ignore. Keep that in mind, comes picture again. Then, in February 2026, things escalated fast online, almost overnight.
Sussex is only to people who repeat their own narrative.
Yes.
Who they can control. So the truth from the is.
Right after new developments to Prince Andrew, an image started spreading across social media at high speed. It's a group of women on a yacht in the Mediterranean, calm setting, told a completely different story. The photo with two bright arrows, one pointing to Meghan Markle and an pointing to a woman, Karina, described as Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. The caption, pushed T, claimed Epstein's girlfriend with Markle.
In my opinion, this is, in my experience of decades, kind of an for me, is the real deal. If a photo like this of Meghan Markle years surfaces, that will be quite an scandal.
And just like that, it exploded. Hundreds of thousands of views turned into millions, spread in no time. Exactly where things start messy and where facts, information collide. Because once that issue took off, it became crucial to separate what's real from what's being pushed without proof. Snopes stepped in to investigate the viral photo, and what they found was direct and hard to ignore. The photo itself is real. That part, Meghan is clearly.
But what we've seen recently is the wokest of the woke turn on Harry and Meghan. It's their own kind turning on them.
And there's no speculation anywhere in the claim viral. That fast once you actually look into it. The one people online labeled as Karina is not who they said. She's actually Flavia, an Italian lifestyle blogger who runs a called Pic. The original photo was posted on August 10th, 2016 by photographer. Flavia was tagged by name right there, clear as day. So that part is set debate needed. Karina, never on that boat, claim doesn't hold up under even brushing the whole thing off because of that stake, the bigger picture. And that's it gets more interesting and doesn't erase what is confirmed. The photo is real. Meghan is on a yacht, and the in the Mediterranean, near the Balearic Islands in Spain in August 2016, just weeks before she started dating Harry. The people in that photo, they're not random or unknown. Names like Misha Nonu, Heather Dorak, Benita Litt can all be through their own social media tag. Nonu, especially, had a full role early on, making her presence in that moment stand out even more. She even designed the shirt during her first public appearance with Harry, placing her right in the middle of those early connections. Detail alone shows how that circle really was at the time. So yes, the false identification in the corrected at all. The yacht, the timing lines up, the people armed in that moment is still there. None of those elements have been disproven, and that's exactly where the focus starts to shift. Because this isn't about one photo, to something that popped up and then faded out of attention in 2021. Boys, chairman of Boys Schiller Flexner, one of the most powerful firms in the United States, interview to the Beast's attention. He was representing Virginia Giuffre in her civil case against Prince Andrew, and during that interview, he told journalist Tom Sykes that his legal team was deposing Markle, not as a witness. That detail raised eyebrows fast. His reasoning, published on December 21st, 2021, was laid out clearly, starting with the Meghan was in the United States, legal jurisdiction in that situation. He explained that she had, at least for a certain period, been an associate of Andrew. That alone put a position where she might have seen something relevant, at the very least, heard conversations connected to it. Those weren't ideas either. They were clearly stated on record at the time. He even plainly could have seen what he did, and perhaps if not to have seen what he'd have heard about it. Then came the part that really stood out. She is somebody who truth. Those were his exact words. They carried weight. This wasn't talk of hand special from a top legal figure handling a high-profile. David Boies also made it clear his team wasn't with unlimited options. They only had for around 10 to 12 depositions, meaning all choice had to be strict and justified. This wasn't about pulling in random public for attention. It was about identifying people who might actually have rock-solid insight to the situation. He drew enough attention. Boies ruled out Queen Elizabeth entirely, pointing to respect protocol as key reasons. Meghan wasn't excluded in the same way. She stayed on the potential witness but a position within those social circles. That context is more than anything. This wasn't a noise or online chatter. This came directly from a legal strategy discussed on record. This wasn't just anyone's. This was a attorney known for institutions, laying out his legal reasoning in public. His focus was on documented proximity to Prince Andrew and the wider network connected to him, making it clear this wasn't random speculation. Then, everything followed a very clear timeline. On January 12, 2022, judged Prince Andrew's motion to dismiss, allowing the case to move forward in phase. That step mattered because it meant positions were getting closer. Real testimony under oath was on the horizon. But just 5 weeks later, everything shifted. On February 15, 2022, for £12 million and stop. With that settlement, never reached the stage where depositions would act, meaning individuals like Meghan formally called to testify. Years later, in April 2025, Virginia Giuffre passed away at her farm in Australia at the age of 41. Her family shared that the long-term weight of her experiences had become overwhelming. Months after her passing, a memoir titled Nobody's Girl was released, adding detail to what she went through. Stands out here isn't just said, what was never answered. And one thing is clear, David Boies was not alone of this. He wasn't speaking casually. He was an attorney involved in a profile case. His comments reflected the wider social landscape surrounding Prince Andrew. He pointed to networks like Soho House and elite circles that often overlapped around the same names. These weren't record whispers either. His remarks are publicly in the Daily Beast, since they can have response comments, and that silence keeps them back in. And here isn't just what's being made. It's about how the camp chooses to when they step in and how precise those responses are when they do. When Tom faced revenge, there was no detailed rebuttal or Harry, even though supportive voices in the media pushed back hard. An endgame sparked controversy. The messaging that followed was careful, measured, and tightly controlled. They have legal advisors, PR, and the ability to vary statements where feel it's necessary. And that's why the reaction to betrayal stood out so much. Pattern. This time, Bauer's work was conspiracy, building more and more elaborate theories of he doesn't know and has never met. That statement came in strong. It went straight at the book, the author, and his methods without holding back. It challenged his ability and questioned his motives in but even with all that sharp, stayed breast the yacht claims, it didn't mention Soho House at all. There was no reference to Ron Burke, no mention of Boies or his remarks, and nothing that touched on the wider Harry social network that's been for years of reports and commentary. And that gap is exactly what keeps people back in. When you line the major publications release 2020, a pattern to show itself clearly. On some issues, they've responded head-on. They pushed back against claims of brainwashing, denied allegations, narrative surrounding the interview. In those cases, responses were direct enough to make their position, but when it comes to this narrowest questions, the public feels different. And that is what keeps the conversation going. It doesn't prove that online speculation is true, and it shouldn't be treated like proof. What it actually shows is something more specific. This is one area where critics have kept asking questions, and now even some mainstream voices have started hinting same direction. But here's the out. Despite those questions gaining more visibility, there hasn't been a public addressing them directly. And that gap, more than the rumors themselves, is what keeps the conversation alive and moving. It's not just about what was said, it's about what wasn't said. Those questions weren't really handled. No comment, no direct denial, no visible legal pushback. just silence. And when a response focuses on going after another instead of the one claim, that absence starts to become part of the story. Then look at how fast it escalated. Prince Andrew's sit back in the spotlight, and right before that, millions of pages of Epstein-related documents released by the Department of Justice. Within days, discussions that stayed independent media spaces began crossing over into more outlets. Dictator even brought the question out into the open, into a space for a long time. Soon after, Dan Wooten started discussing related claims on his platform, pulling in a huge audience and pushing the conversation even further. Then to tread the scene, serialization and coverage across major, and that took the attention to a whole new level. The book itself focuses mostly on later periods, especially after Meghan's time on Suits. Its release still shifted the tone of the discussion. Topics publication had avoided now being referenced, even if it was done carefully or indirectly. Shift than it might seem at first. This wasn't just a one claim or one headline. It was about what's susceptible about in usually legal review, editorial oversight, and high publishing standards. Journalists also started pointing out a possible side effect. Newsweek's chief royal correspondent, Royston, warned about Streisand the idea that trying to shut something down would bring more attention straight to it. Mid-March, Betrayal had already climbed to the rankings before its full release, showing just interest had built around it. And once a topic reaches that level of main exposure, it doesn't just fade away. At that point, it moves beyond independent creators and locks itself firmly into the wider public conversation. That becomes much bigger media cycle, where claims, responses, and counterpoints and examined more closely. Once it hits that level, every detail starts attention, and nothing just slips by unnoticed. It's also keeps some perspective here. Everything being discussed comes from publicly available reporting, named sources, published interviews, and documented records. None of the creators, journalists, or observers were actually present for private conversations or personal moments. But even limitation, certain key events still stand clearly. A columnist from a long-established publication raises a question that had been of years. A senior attorney openly considers Meghan potential witness tied to Prince Andrew. Then you have brand-related analysis pointing to possible rent commercial concerns at once. And when the main response from challenging the credibility of the people raising these issues, instead of a point directly to the situation. That combination, more than any single claim, is what keeps the site locked firmly on this story. And that's where the pressure really starts to build. Because once a story reaches the exposure, it doesn't just disappear. It keeps pulling in new angles, new voices from every direct stage. It's no longer just critics or commentators raising questions. You've got mainstream platforms, legal discussions, and media analysis all intersecting at the same time, creating a situation where every move, or lack of one, gets noticed fast. What stands out most is how selective the responses appear to be. On some topics, immediate, detailed enough to shut things down quickly, but on others, especially the ones tied to these specific works and timelines, the approach looks different, quiet, controlled, and at times completely absent. That contrast is what keeps people watching, because when certain claims are challenged directly, while others are left sitting without a clear response, it naturally raises more questions than it answers. And in a media environment that moves fast, silence doesn't just go up, it becomes narrative, adding even more weight that's already out there. And once silence becomes part of the narrative, it's shaping how the situation is viewed. Because today's media cycle, what isn't said carry just as much weight as what is said. Sometimes even more. Detail gets revisited. Old interviews, actions, to public appearances all get pulled back into focus, with people trying to piece together a clearer picture from what's already on record. Introducing new claims. It's about re-examining what's been there all along, but maybe wasn't getting this level of attention before. That's why those earlier moments matter so much now. The yacht photo, the confirmed identities, the documented social circles, comments, all of it's connecting in the conversation moving forward. And even when certain claims are or debunked, like the misidentified photo, the discussion doesn't just stop. Instead, it shifts direction, going focusing on the parts that remain verified and be documented. Ongoing cycle is what keeps this story alive, because it reaches this level. It's no longer a single moment. It's into a chain of scrutiny that keeps time. At a certain point, the direct art standing out as much allegation itself, not as proof of it, but as part of how people begin in public. And even then, this is only a piece of a much bigger picture that's been unfolding over years. Across countries, industries, and circles, multiple individuals have tried to be parts of this story. What makes it more interesting that many of them had no connection to each other, yet some of their accounts seem to follow the patterns, raising more questions than conclusions. It's that really stands out. How information surfaces, how it gets received, happens after it gains a cycle is what keeps it moving forward and pulling more eyes into the story. And this is where things start to connect deeper level. It brings all of these threads together in a way that hasn't been fully laid out before. If you're following this closely, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment, because the next part, everything to another level.